why don't you tell us a little bit about the project, how it got started, and some of the early challenges that you guys identified.
So basically, the theme of the garden is, with the rest of the Mueller development, is the green sustainability. So one of the main challenges was to pick a nice, sustainable, low water usage, mostly native plant landscape. So when we started designing, we wanted to lay out something that looked really organic, that matched the house. And so we picked kind of a Texas cottage style, as I like to call it, with a lot of sweeps of plants that are all native, and some special architectural plants to create focal points. Since this is a small space, we wanted to be able to create a couple of different things you could do in here and create some interest. So we have the water feature that brings in some nice noise in this space, and since it is a contained space, you will hear the water very well.
So this water feature is absolutely fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about the development of the feature?
Sure. Well, we knew we wanted a water feature because since this is a small space, it would create a great focal point. So what I did is Tom and we walked around the yard at the office, and I saw this rock, and I was like, that is my rock. I was like, I have to have that. So I designed the water feature around the rock. And what it is it's buried a little bit. It's a total of 4 feet tall in the back. And we ran a pipe up about a foot below the top of it. They drilled a hole in and then back up. And so that's how the water is getting to the top. Underneath the fountain is a basin that collects the water as it goes through the river rock right here. So it recycles pretty well. And if there's any evaporation issues or anything, they have an autofill connected to it as well. That'll keep the water constantly going.
Very cool.
But we wanted it to be very naturalistic, very Texas looking. So the rock is definitely something that looks like something you find somewhere in Texas. And then in the landscape here, we've created some nice shade tolerant plants. Since this area gets a lot more shade, we put some Turk's Cap, which is a great shade tolerant plant that has color as well. And then the agave here is a great focal point in the planting bed. So also we have Coreopsis, which has fantastic color as well, with a nice bright yellow flowers. So, and these are all mostly native plants. The only thing that's not a native is the Myoporum, which makes a great ground cover and has wonderful little white flowers on it as well. The grass is buffalo grass, and it's very drought tolerant. And a great feature if you're really wanting to save on water, your water bills, because you don't need to irrigate it as much as, say, St. Augustine.
So Kate and I made our way from the front of the house to the atrium and out towards the back of the house. And one of the features that's consistent with most of the properties here at the Miller development is a really nice side yard. Basically, with the side yard, you know, everybody's perspective of perfect is relative, and to that end, you know, whether you want to do some natural planting, whether you want to do a compost, whether you want to plant some herbs, whatever, this is an ideal spot insofar as it's a high shade area. Really welcomes a lot of heavy growth.
What we did, this is again a really shady area, so especially right here we have some columbine, which is another great shade plant that has a fantastic flower on it. Almost looks like a fairy, so it's very interesting, fun, and definitely a great place for the shade. And then as we move around, we have the Coreopsis again, and what we want to do is repeat plants in the front and the back all around the house to create unity within the garden. So we have that. And then we have these red yuccas, again, they're in the front of the house to create unity. And since this is a thin space, you could keep a little strip of grass if you wanted, or you could bring the planting bed all the way to the fence and put stepping stones in it to provide access around the back. And yes, it'd be a great place for doing composting. It'd be kind of hidden and out of the way, and not too far away from the rest of the yard if you needed to get the compost towards the other beds. After the architect had finished the plans for this house, he called us and asked us to do a landscape design. And so what I did was I took the blueprints, I came out to the site, which at the time had nothing on it. So it left a lot for the imagination, a lot of time for me to think about what I really wanted to go on here. I looked at a lot of his illustrations as well to get an idea of what the theme of the house was. And so after that, I did a concept plan, which meant I just basically got a general idea of the flow and how I wanted it to be laid out. And from there, I finalized the plan. And this is our final plan right here. And what we did was drew it up using the floor plan of the house. And then I added in all the plants, labeled them all, colored them so that you kind of get a general idea of what the color combinations would be. And then this would be something we would present to a client for the final design. And if they were okay with it, then that's what we would install. So the total price for this project was $25,000, and that included the design fee as well as the installation. Design fee was $500, that's our minimum design fee for projects such as this, and $20,000 went to the installation. And what that got was a lot of really great green features, such as drip irrigation, which is kind of an upfront investment. It's a little bit more expensive than spray heads, but you're going to save a lot of money on your water bill on the back end because it is really efficient, it doesn't waste water, and you don't need to run it as long. Some other pieces that were a little bit more pricey are those things such as the water fountain, which creates a nice focal feature in the courtyard, as well as all the plants. We invested in some great plants that were from local nurseries, and so that's great because they didn't have to travel from very far. Some of the other nurseries in the nation can ship things to like Home Depot and stuff, but these are Texas nurseries, locally owned, and they're producing great products that are going to weather the Texas heat. So.
And it also keeps money cycling within the community.
Exactly.
So it's not only sustainable from environmental impact perspective, but also from an economic impact perspective.
Right, local. So some other things we have here, we have some great rocks that are from the Texas area, so they're going to be good for this region. They're going to match the vernacular of the architecture as well as the landscape. And we repeated those throughout the landscape as well. It creates a real natural feel and gets you a beautiful space as well.